Hello everyone, my name is Jordan and today we're going to be doing something that I am very excited. I've been talking about this for a few weeks now. Today I want to finally make first junk journal here on the channel. It's very exciting. So here in front of me I have some stuff that I found at my local thrift store. So the first thing here is this beautiful piece of a dark blue fabric. Now this is just a small square that I've already kind of pre-cut, but it was quite a big chunk of fabric that I found for a decent price, so that was a really lucky find. So I want to use this for the cover of our journal, and I also found this really pretty lace that I think I also kind of want to drape across part of the cover as well. But then I was like, okay, so if this is covering like the whole of my journal, and then we kind of have, you know, some of this over the top of it in some spots. But I'm like, but then what? Is that it? Like, I don't know what else to do. Like, I want more on the cover than just like a piece of fabric, you know? So then I was kind of looking, and I'm like, well, of course I have tons of paper, and I was looking at some of my Tim Holtz backdrop papers. I have volumes 1, 2, and 3, but from volume 2, I really liked this brown one. And I thought it would be kind of cool to have this sort of peeking out underneath the fabric. Like maybe there's sort of a torn hole or something. You can kind of see something peeking out beneath. I've also have these little book plates from the Paper Studio. So I could potentially use one of those. So I have some ideas, and I've also got some papers for signatures sort of set aside, but so this is sort of the plan. I don't know how the whole hole in the fabric thing is gonna go, but like I said, I have tons of this fabric, so if I mess it up, I can easily try again. So yeah. So I've already sort of prepared some things. So this is some chipboard. I was originally going to use this this book cover from, it's a Reader's Digest cover, but the more I kept thinking about it, I was like, this is really cute. It's in really good condition, and this would almost be perfect for like some sort of like botanical journal or nature journal. It's got this cute little like squirrel or chipmunk on it. And that can't be a squirrel, the tail's wrong. Yeah, I don't know, some sort of chipmunk, and it's green, and so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna save this for a future project. So I almost used this. But yeah, so I've decided to use some chipboard. So these two pieces right here, I've already cut them out. They were just a one piece of 8.5 by 11 inch piece of chipboard. And I just cut it in half. So these are 8.5 by, what, 4, 5, 5.5, 5.5, 8.5 by 5.5. And then the spine is 8.5 by 1.5. So we have a 1.5 inch spine. I didn't want to go too big. Yeah, so theoretically this would go on whatever our front cover is going to be, and I don't need the whole thing, and obviously it needs to fit on here, so I'm going to trim this down a bit, I think. And I'm just going to eyeball it, honestly, because I don't need the whole thing. And then it also needs to be, well, I suppose it needs to be at least 5.5. Yeah. So I'm just gonna trim. I'm gonna trim off this side. So 5.5. Do I maybe just slightly? Let's do 5.5 first. I kind of want this piece to kind of be centered, so I think I want to just take a little bit more off of this, just so it's a little bit smaller than 5.5, because I just don't want it sticking out at all. let's see. Yeah, perfect. All right, and then, so I got to do pretty much everything I need to do on here before I'm ready to do anything else. So I need to kind of figure out, like, if this is going to be like a hole here. Yeah. And if I want to put a book plate, but then we probably want, you know, something in there, right? Do I want to cover all this up, though? I mean, this doesn't really matter, but... So maybe I need, like, a piece of paper, maybe just some, like, coffee stain paper? Let me just look through my stash here, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I was looking, and I kind of like this coffee stain paper, because it's kind of, like, speckly, and it'll kind of give some texture. So if I just cut out a piece, it doesn't need to be... I'm just going to draw some lines here. It doesn't need to be perfect. I'm going to cut kind of just slightly within the lines. So let's see. Yeah, I think I'm going to cut that down just a little bit more, because I don't want it peeking outside of the book plate. I'm going to have to line this up, like, pretty perfectly. It's even these corners. I'm going to just snip them off, because I don't want to see them. Maybe I'll just snip these off, too, just to be on the safe side. Okay, and then what do we want the title to be? Did we just put journal? I don't know what else to call it. I don't have like a specific theme going for this journal. I just sort of found the fabric and was like, this would be gorgeous for a cover. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm going from there. So maybe I take out my alphabet stamps. And I also picked up some VersaFine ink. It's very new, it's very wet. So, journal, let's see, make sure you spell it right, Jordan. J. Oof. I need to make sure it's like within the lines. I'm gonna just draw so I kind of know where I need the letters to be. Okay. J. Do I want it all to be uppercase? Ooh, okay. O. U. R. Am I running out of space? I feel like I'm running out of space. Ah, I am. Maybe it'll be okay. Yeah, I could just kind of bring it over a little bit. Just cut this or erase this. Or maybe I should draw a line where I need the holes to be. Right, okay, and then I gotta poke holes. Got my awl, and found this little mat on clearance at Joann's, just a little foam mat, which will be perfect for poking holes. Okay. Okay, and then these come with brads. So I also need to decide where on here I want this to be. Maybe just kind of line it up with that line. All right. So then, no, we got to go through here. And the other one. Oh, these are kind of thin and flimsy. Look at how loose that is. Those brads are cheapo. That'll be alright. It's gonna get glued down. I guess I could try to put some glue under here too to kind of secure it, but I'm almost tempted to get out some of my own brads. These are some cheapos. It'll be fine. Okay, and then I need to attach this to here. Right? Where's my glue? Is this right? Am I ready for this? I think so. Okay. So now I kind of need to, I don't know, cut a hole in here somehow. So as long as there's a little bit of space on each side. Here's the thing. Maybe I should sort of, I was trying to keep plenty of space on all sides. But maybe I should sort of like paper clip this shut or clamp it so I kind of know where the placement's supposed to be. Right? There should be plenty of space over there. Plenty of space here and here. I'll probably have to trim it down actually later, but so. So now I need to somehow cut out a hole, but I don't want it to be a perfect circle. I kind of want it to be like it's worn. This is where the book plate is. So this is what it looks like. So I need to cut into it. Oh, I just did it. What am I doing? Okay, work in progress. Needs to come out, needs to be a little wider. it needs to be wider. All right, this is what we got so far. Sort of a weird thing. Now I'm wondering if I can kind of fray the edges. So just pull it apart maybe. Okay, I was kind of thinking, what if I do sort of some like random hand stitching also? Like maybe someone tried to like hold it together, sew it back up. I'm not sure. I need to look at what I got for thread. Okay, so I do sort of have this almost looks like a really dark brown that I could maybe try to just sort of randomly, need a needle. Okay, so I just sort of put like a small stitch in here and I kind of stitched back just sort of like one little tiny section. So it's very subtle, just something to kind of, I don't know. I'm going to keep going with it. And not necessarily all the way around, but just in places. Okay, here's what I got so far. So like I said, I just kind of put a little bit of thread in there, peeled back some of the edges just a little bit. I don't know, just to give it a little something extra, I guess. So now it's time to glue this thing down. So I think I'm just going to do it piece by piece. I want to get this piece glued down before I try to glue the other pieces. And I think I'm going to leave these sort of pinned, and I might just start kind of with like the top portion. I just sort of slide these down a bit. I don't necessarily, like, I'm not going to glue all the way to the edge. I'm going to kind of leave a little bit of space, so this can be a little loose and free-flowing. I'm going to use Fabri-Tac, because that's good with fabric. And I think I'm going to use a paintbrush because I want a very nice thin layer here. So I kind of just need to... And I think I'm just going to try to do like a little bit at a time to try to not... Okay, and now I'm just going to come down the edge. Ooh, that Fabri-Tac has a smell to it. Alright, and I just have this last section to do. Alright. So now that that's all good to go, I think I can flip this over and I can put my spine on here. I'll have to leave just a tiny gap. So we'll want to glue this. So we have the start of a journal. Yeah. So now I just need to bring, I think I need to trim these edges off so that there's a smaller thing. Okay, so now I just need to kind of, I think, snip the corners. Okay, and then I just gotta glue these bad boys down, right? Okay, here we go. This is our book so far. Not the best glue job, but that's okay because we're going to be covering this up anyways, so that'll help further, you know, some of these bits. Fix some of them. Part of me like wants to try to trim these corners, but I don't know how without like completely exposing them. So I think before I do anything else, I want to figure out this lace. But this is looking awesome so far. I already love it. So I need to kind of figure out what I'm doing. Because I kind of want it to come around the spine here a little bit. I think I just need to honestly just cut a chunk off, but I don't know how. Or I suppose I could just sort of lay this out flat. And I can always trim some of this off. Or do I just sort of bring, I don't know. All right, I'm just gonna cut a chunk off that's big enough to cover the whole back cover if I really want to. So I think, I don't really want to cut into this lace. I'm gonna like cut around some of it a bit. Because I don't know what I'm doing. Alright, give this to me. Just give this. Give the rest of this to me. Just cut it. Okay. Get that out of my way. And now I have this chunk. And I need to figure out where exactly I want it. I don't necessarily want to cover up all this blue, but I really want this like design in here, you know? Even these are really cute. So maybe I do just kind of cut around this and just sort of plaster this across the spine. I think like right here. And just kind of do this. So I think just this is our spine. Now I have to try to glue this on. I think I'm just going to try to dot the glue where like the thicker threads are, where the designs are. and hopefully that is good enough. Okay, so it's all glued down. Now I need to, oh, is it gonna bend okay? Yeah. So that is the cover. Now this is all kind of loose and I want to sort of fray it and try to distress some of these edges. I'm going to try to like pull them apart, make them look more, you know. Okay guys, this is our cover. Oh, I'm in love. I'm in love with it. It's gorgeous. So love. And I still have tons more of this lace that I could add to other things. So that's awesome. I'm so loving how this is turning out. It's gorgeous. So now I need to figure out what I'm going to put on the inside. I think I'm going to go through some more of my Tim Holtz backdrop papers and see what I find, and I will be right back. So I think I've decided on these two. This one is from Backdrops Volume 2, and this is from Volume 3, so in case you're interested. But still kind of with the blue theme a bit, not kind of a different blue, but that's okay. So I'm going to trim these down to size, and then I'm probably going to ink the edges, and then I will be right back. Alright, I have the pages cut down to size. I just eyeballed it, marked it, cut it. I didn't really do any measuring. And I already glued it down so far. Oh, I love that cover. I really do. Okay. And now to kind of cover up this centerpiece, I didn't want to use paper, so I do have some more fabric. This is just a scrap that I have from, you know, some... it was just a little baggie of scraps that I found at a thrift store. So yeah, so I think I'm kind of thinking about doing like 2 pieces, gluing here and then again here, you know? I think so. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, I did it. I think. Now I need to figure out what I'm doing with these guys, because I'm just going to cut them off. Okay, so now it's time. Am I still on camera? Okay, I am still on camera. Or I'm still recording, I should say. So, cover is complete. Now what I want to do is obviously the signatures. So I have a bunch of stuff prepared. I still kind of need to figure it out, and I don't know once I fold this in half if this is enough or if it's too much. So yeah, so here are just a couple of dictionary pages. They're a little too long, so I decided to fold a little bit in, and then they'll obviously get folded in half still. And then, so these will be, in the end, a little bit of a shorter page. So I have these, and then I have, these are some like, a little bit more modern, like accounting ledger type papers that I've found at thrift stores, 2 different kinds. So I have those. We have some coffee dyed paper, and all of these I've already kind of trimmed down to size, and I just sort of, I didn't measure anything. I kind of just held it up to journal and was like, okay, if I just trim off a little bit around every side, it should be good. And that's what I did. So all of these were at one point like 8.5 by 11 inch papers, and I took off maybe about 1/4 of an inch on all 4 sides. So yeah, some of my coffee dyed papers, after I trimmed them, I did ink the edges just a little bit. So here's a coffee dyed paper. This is a paper that I did with Distress Oxides in water. I just did this in my last video. A little bit of stenciling. This is a digital, so I did print out some digitals. This is a Ledger digital by Louise Heinzel, so I'll have that linked. And on the other side is another digital kit by Louise Heinzel. This is like, it's called like, I don't know, coffee, flowers, buttons, something, something like that. I'll as well have this one linked. Another Louise Heinzel, coffee dyed paper. This is a paper bag that I, once again, dyed with oxides. This is a Vintagebyme digital. On the other side is more Louise Heinzel. This is Louise Heinzel Ledger, Louise Heinzel. This is Tea Stain, I believe. Another one of my oxide dyed papers. Vintagebyme digital, Louise Heinzel, and another Vintagebyme. So these are all the papers I have so far. I'm going to fold them into, I think, 3 small signatures, and then we'll see kind of if that's enough or too much or what needs to happen. And I'll be right back. Alright guys, so I folded up all the pages, and I do think that, I'm hoping, I've never done this before, so I could be wrong. I think this is a good enough size. Because then it leaves, I think it leaves plenty of room to add tons of stuff. Because this is just it, just sort of sitting in here gently. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. It's only 1.5, so I don't want to go with too many pages. And I am not going to show myself sewing these in. I'm just going to do a simple 3 pamphlet stitch, nothing you probably haven't seen before. So I'm going to come back at the end because my phone is dying. So I'm running out of battery life, so I'm going to sew these in, and then I'll come back and we'll show you the end result. We'll flip through all the pages, and yeah. Alright guys, I am back, and I have the finished journal. I'm so excited. I love it so much. I maybe could have put a few more papers in for the signature, but that's alright. It just means we can really fill it up. And I'm excited about it. So, yeah, I'm sorry I didn't show me putting the signature in, but I mean, I am still not a pro. This video was never meant to be like a tutorial, because I'm still very new at this. And there's probably like a million videos out there on how to sew in signatures. So I just didn't think it was necessary to show that on camera. But yeah, so this was sort of my guide to figure out where all the holes will be. So this is the exact same size as the spine, and I just found the middle this way, and then also the middle, you know, the middle. And then I actually based it off of this paper bag because I wanted to make sure that this was going to be fully secure. So I just kind of lined it up and was like, okay, yeah, about 2 inches from the bottom and 2 inches from the top will be good enough. And then I just kind of like line these up in here in the middle of each of my signature, just like right next to the middle, and I poked all the holes into my signatures, and also in the book itself, the spine. I just laid this across the spine and poked all the holes. And then I just used this to line up. So I poked holes through the signature, and I sewed them all together. So that's how I did that, just sort of quick explanation. But yeah, so we've got a little dictionary page. We can glue this down, make it a pocket. It could be a little flip out, who knows. And then we have some digitals and coffee dyed paper and some like little bit more modern day ledger or accounting book paper, whatever you want to call it. More digitals, some oxide distressed paper. This is upside down, but that's okay. More digitals. Coffee stand paper, digitals. Here's a dictionary page. You know. In the very, very middle is this paper bag. And so yeah, this is our journal. I'm so excited. I love it so much. I was so afraid that the cover wasn't gonna, like, because I had this vision, you know, of, let's go and look at it, of this hole, and I was just like, God, when I start cutting this thing out, I'm just gonna ruin it. Like, that was my fear before I even started, that this was gonna be a complete disaster, and it actually went pretty okay. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's not meant to be perfect, you know? I feel like this is crooked. I should probably try to glue that down. I will later off camera. I'll try to glue that down, probably with this Fabri-Tac. This stuff is pretty heavy duty. It's for fabric, lace, glass, leather, wood, and trim. I mean, this is like a metal. It doesn't say metal, but I mean, if you can do glass and leather and wood, I don't know. I might just try to take, I don't know. It might be hard to get under there though. I don't know. I think it's fine. This is my first journal. It doesn't need to be perfect. Well, they're junk journals. They don't have to be perfect to begin with. So yeah, I am in love with this. I'm excited to do future projects in this journal. Like I said, there's no real theme here, but I love it all the same. And as I mentioned before, I will try to link all of the digital kits that I used down below in the description box. And yeah, I'm so glad I finally did this. I'm so glad I finally have a journal that I can kind of like reference. Some of my gluing in here wasn't the greatest, but like I said, you don't know until you try. And I just absolutely love how it turned out. Also, my corners. I kind of wish I had like the metal corners to add on here. Maybe if I find some, I can add these on later. Because I didn't glue them the greatest. They kind of stick out a little bit, but that's okay. So yeah, the signature, I was gonna go for a lighter blue because I do have one, but these look so like a little faded, and the blue that I had was just a little too like bright and like perfect, if that makes any sense. I don't know. It just didn't, I thought it would have stood out too much, so this thread was the closest I had that kind of matched the lace. So, and I think that turned out pretty good. And actually, this was really hard because originally the needle, this hole came up right through here. So I actually had to go under this little blue flower here and then go into the hole. And so trying to find that last hole was probably the hardest part. Otherwise, the signatures went in very smoothly. It was funny because like I went in through the signature, and then when I had to go back through from the outside, I was like, oh, how am I supposed to find the holes? But it actually was really easy other than that one. Yeah, the back is kind of plain, but that's okay. And yeah, love it. Love it. Let me know what you guys think down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.